welcome you all to the 2024 Kossuth County Fair Sheep Show. We're going to start out with the advanced feeder pen lamb class, I should say, and there's two of them, exhibitors, and so Joel, our judge, is walking over to the barn to quick judge those, and then he will come back and we will start with the regular show. And we will start with the open, okay? We're going to start with the 3 and 4-year-olds, and then we'll go to the 5 and 7-year-olds, and we'll go to the 9 and 10. And there will be a class winner in each one of those that will come back for the overall and reserve, okay? So again, welcome to the fair. Hope you're having a great day. Stay hydrated. It's warm. Hopefully you notice it's a little cooler in here since we sprayed the ceiling. I think it feels better, but still keep hydrated. Okay, so our champion and reserve champion for the Performance Lamb Pen is Elsie Kramer. Congratulations, Elsie. All right, I think we're ready to get started here. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time if I mispronounce your name or if it's not written right in here, because we've already found one error. Okay, so we're going to start out with our 3 and 4-year-olds. We have 5 exhibitors. First is Corwin Mogler, followed by Cora Berg, Jones Christensen, Jace Birdie, and Isabella Redding.
good afternoon. It's certainly a pleasure to be here. A really fun place to start here. I love this idea for a lot of reasons. A lot of these county fairs have started to implement some kind of pre-4-H show. Sometimes we call it a fun show. Sometimes it is for fun, and it should be for fun. But we're giving out awards, we're picking champions and reserves, and we're making it a little bit more of a real thing for these young kids. And I think that's awesome, because the sooner we can get these really young folk interested in 4-H and FFA and youth livestock exhibits, the better our future is going to be. Obviously, I looked through the program real quick. We've got 3 classes. There's quite a few exhibitors in each class. That's an awesome thing for the future of your county fair. I'm just going to go ahead and pull out the couple that I want to come back for the champion and reserve champion honors. Young man here closest to me, he's got a nice little Hampshire cross new lamb that's going to go ahead and win the class. Really good body, really good design one. She squares up with enough shape down her top. Just really fault-free, really complete one to go ahead and win the class. The young man here with the silver weather, really big body, wide constructed. He might have just a notch more shape and dimension out to his tail head, maybe right behind his rack. It kind of comes at you in just a little bit of a piecier package, not quite as balanced from the side view. Reads a little straighter off of both ends of his skeleton, but I think 2 really nice ones here in our itty bitty little kid class. Let's go ahead and give them all a big hand on an awesome job.
All right, good job to all of our exhibitors. Our winner of that class is Corwin Mogler. In second place is Jones Christensen. So next we will have our 5 to 7-year-olds, and we've got 8 in this class, 8 exhibitors. Our first exhibitor is Cora Christensen, followed by Coda Kane, Zella Borman, Xavier Redding, Paige Bird, Maverick Smith, Riker Holmes, and Ava Bird. Our judge for today is Joel Monaco. Joel is from Clarion. He is the agriculture instructor at NIAC. Joel does a lot of judging in his spare time if he has any. So we're glad that he could be here today to help us judge our show.
class to evaluate. Kids are a little older, a little more engaged and more interested. I think the quality from top to bottom is quite a bit better. We've got 3 or 4 of them out here that are really nice individuals. Young man here closest to me is going to handle the class. Does an excellent job in terms of his presentation. You can tell he's putting a lot of work already on the showmanship side of things. But then most importantly, when I get my hands on this new lamb, she's really impressive from blade to hip. Really handles square to the touch. Wide constructed, sound, functional one to go ahead and handle the class. The young lady's blue lamb in second. I think slides into that second spot. There may be a couple of them that are a little bigger body, maybe just a notch stouter featured as we view them from the ground. But I really like the top side of this one in terms of her handling characteristics. She's quite a bit fresher and firmer to the touch. Just reads with more true, genuine shape from blade to hip. I think an excellent pair of them in this division. A really nice group of young people all the way along the line here. Let's show our appreciation for them coming out.
Good job to all our participants. Our class winner is Riker Holmes, and second is Zella Borman. Next up, we will have the 9 and 10-year-olds. We have 6 exhibitors in here. Our first exhibitor will be Wayne Borman, Tyson Studer, Lexi Bird, Cohen Kane, Max Luchens, and Jameson Ehlers.
Really excellent group of young people out here as we start to get a little older, a little more confident, a little more comfortable. You can see for the most part we're really starting to do kind of the basics of showmanship. We work on a few things with a few of them here and there, but we want to try to start working on getting those sheep to, one, hold still and behave, and two, kind of go ahead and get up into us and brace or drive when the judge is handling them. I think really a nice job from top to bottom with all of you. The two I went and pulled out were very different in terms of their type and kind. The young man closest to me, I tend to like this one just a notch better in terms of her basic build and design. I think she's got a notch more rib, a notch more substance of bone. She works more power and more volume of muscle from blade to hip. She reads a little less terminal than does the weather. She's a little roomier in her overall makeup. I still think she's good enough in her lines for me to go ahead and use her. From there, the weather coming out second, I think really handles nicely. Super fresh to the touch, really ideal in terms of his composition. Maybe just comes at you and not quite as a balanced package. Reads a little frailer in his overall bone work, but I think two really high quality individuals. These two young men should be proud. Let's give everybody a big round of applause.
All right, great job by all of our exhibitors. Our class winner is Cohen Kane, and second is Wayne Foreman. All right, we are going to bring back our top two, I guess, from each class. I apologize. That was a misspoke on my part. So out of the first class, we will have Corwin Mogler. This is the 3 and 4-year-olds, and Jones Christensen. Out of the 5 and 7-year-olds, we will have Riker Holmes and Zella Borman. And the 9 and 10-year-olds, we have Cohen King and Wayne Borman. And we will go for Grand and Reserve.
Really excellent group here, our pre-4-HH kids. Like I said before, it's an awesome thing you're doing. Sometimes I think in life today we kind of shy away from teaching kids how to be competitive, how to win and lose gracefully. I guess I took a different approach to that as a parent. We started showing when they were 5 or 6, and we were pretty serious about it, pretty competitive in a lot of places. I think the things that taught my kids have been invaluable moving forward. The people they've met, the relationships they've made, their communication skills, the ability to work hard and know what it takes to have to do something at a high level has really paid big dividends for them and other things that they do in life, whether it's athletics, whether it's their schoolwork at home. They know that if they want to be really good at something, it takes a lot of work, and they learn that at an early age. And they like to have success. So I'd encourage you, I'm not saying winning is everything, but the sooner you teach kids how to work to win, I think it makes their life a whole lot easier down the road when they get into junior high, high school, college, things like that. So this is a really cool thing. I really like seeing it. There's some competitive spirit in these young people already. You can see by their faces, they're out here, they're trying to do their best. selected, champion, and reserve, but let's put our hands together for everybody that came out and exhibited today on a really nice show.
So our champion is Riker Holmes, and our reserve champion is Cohen Kane. Good job. Up next is our Bucket Bottle Lamb Junior. We have two exhibitors, Philip Reddy and Ryder Parsons. Only two of them here in our bottling division. Young man closest to me is going to handle the clash just surely from a compositional standpoint. When we handle this one, he squares up with more shape. He's more robust in his rib cage. He's stouter out to his tail head. And then coupled with that, he's the longer hind saddle lamb. He's more leveler to his dock. I like a lot of things about him. He's obviously a little further away from his ideal endpoint. Needs more days on feet, but I think he's got the right pieces to go and make a really high-quality market lamb. The final cross appearing lamb here in second, really big scale, really late maturing. I love those things about him. Really trim and immature in terms of his handle. Just needs more explosiveness and shape, more body, and overall width of skeleton to move any higher today. But I think a really nice pair of them. They've been taken care of really well and they're healthy looking. Let's go ahead and give them a hand. All right, our champion of the Bucket Bottle Lamb Junior class is Ryder Parsons, and our reserve is Philip Redding. Congratulations, guys. So now we will move into our breeding sheep. Up first is our purebred ewe lambs. We've got 4 exhibitors. We have Reagan Studer, Sydney Paul, Weston Paul, and Grace Klugen.
It's always challenging in our purebred division if we have multiple breeds represented in one class. We've got some differences in terms of type and kind, but I think two high quality females here up at the start. The young ladies, ULAM here that's going to go ahead and win the class, the Suffolk. I think the most genuine in terms of her width, the skeleton, the most genuine in terms of her forehead shape and actual total body capacity. She works the most volume of muscle from blade to hip. I'd like to change her and lift her up in her tail head set ever so slightly, but I think she's the most correct in her composition, just a really fault-free sound one with body and muscle. Take nothing away from the Southbound coming out next. Obviously this breed is substantially more moderate in terms of their frame size and skeletal maturity, but she handles just a tick plain for me. She's too fat over her forehead. I need to have more tone and freshness. Other than that, I think she's one that balances up nice from the side. She's got some look. She does raise her tail head quite a bit higher than the one we're going to go ahead and win. I just need more genuine shape, more genuine width, just more expression and mass to go ahead and win. From there, we've got a Paragon. I think they're still an extremely large framed, extremely late maturing lanes. You certainly got to admire that about them. There are some in certain circles that may value these two a little higher than I do in terms of their maturity pattern and height at the shoulder. But for me, they're just a little flatter in their overall makeup. The one that slides into third, I think, without a doubt, has more shape, more curvature to her forehead than does the one that we round out the class. The one that we round out the class with, maybe a notch sounder off of both ends of her skeleton than the one in third, maybe a little leveler from blade to hip, but just not near enough mass, not near enough substance and volume for me today. A really nice class of purebred ULAMs, so let's congratulate these exhibitors.
All right, our champion purebred ULAM was shown by Reagan Studer, and our reserve champion was Grace Luchin. Up next is our white case, and other yearling ewe. We have one exhibitor, and that is Grace Luchin.
Really a big frame, big scale, tall shouldered, Southbound yearling ewe coming out here. You certainly appreciate those things about her. She's long and level down her spine. I like the shape and dimension to her hip. For me though, when I study her from the side, I just like to balance her up just a notch better. She's not quite as unique and nifty and cool looking as we put her in motion when we get her propped up from the side. I like to shallow her up from chin to chest, give her more depth to her midrib and flank, and just maybe peel a little bit of the condition off of her for this stage of the game in her life. But I think a high quality female nonetheless. Let's go and congratulate this young lady.
Grace is our champion white cage yearling ewe. So now we'll bring out our white face and other commercial ewe lambs. We've got 3 entries here. We've got Grace Luchins, Emma McGuire, and Weston Haylers.
think the white face cross or the Bronco face, the speckled face ewe-lamb here closest to me is the logical place to start because I think her body shape and design is quite a bit better than the two white influenced ewe-lambs in second and third. Easily the squarest and boldest in her forerib, really good in terms of the top side of her skeleton. I like the fact that she props up and runs uphill. I like the fact that she's both the most youthful and the most angular in terms of the way she's made her neck and blade. I'm going to be critical of this one. I'd like to change her in the way her hind leg gets out and goes. She gets a little uncoordinated and insecure and hot. She maybe plants just a little bit too far underneath herself, like to straighten her just a notch in her pastern. But I think the fundamentals are there to go ahead and win. The one coming out next in second, I think it most closely follows our platform from a design perspective. Just handles quite a bit plainer and nondescript, particularly right behind her blade. If I could give her more curvature to her forerib, give her more stoutness and dimension as I study her on the top side of her skeleton, I think she's one that goes ahead and makes a run out. Take nothing away from the one and third. I think it's a close pair between second and third. She's a little bigger in her kind. She's a little taller at the top of her shoulder. I think she may have an advantage in terms of length of spine. Just handles the most nondescript right behind her blade. She is a little fresher right behind her, over her loin edge, excuse me. I just need to balance that one up ever so slightly from the side to compete with the two ahead of them, but I think a nice trio of white face crosses or white face influence ewe-lambs, let's give them a hand.
Our champion white face and other commercial ewe-lamb is Weston Ehlers, and our reserve is Grace Luchins. Up next, we will have our black face commercial ewe-lamb. We've got 3 classes here. In our first class, we've got 4 exhibitors. We've got Amelia Bourne, Grace Luchins, Weston Paul, and Kenna Patton.
Pretty sporty rig here to go ahead and start. The young lady's natural colored ewe-lamb, super fresh to the touch. Extremely ideal in terms of her hide and presentation. I love those things about her. But then additionally, she is easily the most striking from the side view. She is easily the shapeliest and most massive in terms of her just crispness to touch from blade to hip, stout out to her tail head, big-footed, good-legged one that gets out and goes with comfort and ease. That's a pretty darn nice one right there to win this class. Young lady coming out next in second maybe offers just a notch more total curvature and dimension as we study her in her forehead. Maybe just cracked open a notch wider as we study her in her undercarriage, but comes at you in a package that's just not nearly as balanced. She gets a little washed out or rounder over her loin edge. She's not quite as square and dimensional as you study her out to her tail head down through the center and lower part of her leg, but another really high quality ewe there in second. One coming out in third is one that I think does the basics very well, just a good design, good balanced one. I think isn't as massive in terms of her sheer width of skeleton as the one in second, isn't quite as cocky and arrogant and fresh and crisp to the touch as the one that goes ahead and wins, but I think a really nice complete one to slide there into fourth. One coming out next, in third. The one coming out next in fourth is a little bigger in her scale, a little taller fronted and later maturing. Her balance from the side view though is just concerning as the deepest part of her body is from chin to chest, like to drop her in her flank, like to stop her up her pinwork. Rounding out the class with one that I think narrows up the most as we study her in her undercarriage, like to crack her open in her blade, crack her open in her forehead, and just give her more stoutness down the top side of her skeleton. But I think a really nice class of commercial ewe lambs. Let's give all these kids a round of applause.
All right, I apologize for that class. We was wrong in the program. We actually had 5 exhibitors. Adeline Heyer was moved down under your blackface yearling lamb, and she should be instead moved up to that class. So we actually had 5 exhibitors. So Amelia Borman was our winner of that class, followed by Kenna Hatton, then Adeline Heyer, Grace Lucians, and Weston Paul. So up next is our next class of black-faced commercial ewe lambs. We have 2 exhibitors, Rylan Tuttle and Sydney Paul.
Another really logical place to start here. This ewe lamb, I think handles the class just in terms of her overall balance. We study this one. Is she the freakiest muscle one we've ever handled? No, but she's got plenty of muscle. Is she the wildest bodied one we've ever looked at from the side? No, but is she more than adequate? Yes. I think just a super complete one. If we're going to change her, I think some of it might be her attitude. When we get her out and put her into motion, she wants to really drop her chest floor, get a little stiff in her neck. Sometimes that's just an attitude problem with the sheep. Sometimes that's a structure problem. Young lady, when she gets her propped up, though, you can see she's plenty tall enough fronted. She's plenty smooth enough in terms of her blade and neck. Just a really nice one to go ahead and win. Take nothing away from the one in second. Maybe a notch taller at the shoulder, maybe a notch longer as we study her from blade to hip. Really level and smooth in her top line. Just not quite the overall balance, not quite the overall show ring appeal, not quite that crisp shape and expression of muscle as we study him from blade to hip. But a really nice pair of them. Let's congratulate these young ladies.
All right, our class winner is Rylan Tuttle and second place, Sydney Paul. We'll bring in our last class for the Blackface Commercial U Lands. We have 4 exhibitors here. We have Emma McGuire, Lydia Borman, Reagan Studer, and Kenna Hatton.
super interesting pair here to evaluate and analyze. I think I'll say this up front. I love a couple of things about each of these. There's a couple of things I'd like to change about each of them. I think when you really start to analyze them, it really becomes close. If you're going to decide that this one's smooth enough in terms of her transition from loin to hip, I think she's just fine when we get her in motion. I think, once in a while, the young lady, when we get her stuck, we want to hammer her right on the middle of her spine, and that makes her kind of drop her loin and get a little funky in terms of her progression there. just be patient, let her do her thing. I think she'll be just fine. That spot on the top of her hip also will kind of throw her balance off just a little bit. But when you really study this one's skeleton is pretty unique as we study her through the front 1/3 of her skeleton. Really tall fronted, really elevated, really youthful and extreme in terms of her profile, but then also extremely fresh to the touch, extremely square and shapely down her back. Like I said, if I'm going to be critical of this one, she could maybe have just a notch more dimension down low. She could be a little bigger in her foot size, and I would sure like to smooth her up right there as she transitions from her loin into her hook bones. The one in second is super smooth, super cracked open, and for one that reads a little more mature at this stage of the game, she still handles plenty fresh for me today. She's got a little more cover on her than does the class winner, but I don't think it's excessive. Where it gets really close is you study this one in terms of her maturity up to the front 1/3 of her skeleton. She's quite a bit just coarser in terms of her neck and blade shape. She's quite a bit deeper from chin to chest. She doesn't get out and travel with the fluidity that our class winner does in terms of the way that she handles her blade and knee, and the way that she handles her hip and hock as she gets out and goes. If we can loosen her up just a notch in her structure, she's one that maybe makes her run to win the class. But wide constructed, really good balance in terms of just basic fundamentals of good livestock, and really excellent future brood view for this young lady. The one coming out next in third is long-bodied and good-looking from the side, similar to our class winner. She maybe is a little bit bigger bodied than our class winner, but she just does not handle with the tone and freshness down the top side of her skeleton. She gets just a little bit easy in terms of her top line as we study her there. Rounding out the class with one that's really big-bodied and productive from her look. She's still got the right kind of angles to the front 1/3 of her skeleton. I just need to make her quite a bit stouter as we study her out to her tailhead, quite a bit more dimensional as we study her down through the lower 1/3 of her leg, and give her just a notch more bone. But I think a high-quality set of ewe lambs that could go make foundation females for these young ladies. Let's give them all a hand.
Okay, our class winner there was Lydia Borman. Second was Kenna Hatton. Third was Emma McGuire, and fourth was Reagan Studer. So now we bring back the top two from each class. So in the first class, we'll have Amelia Borman, and in the second, Kenna Hatton. In our second class, Ryland Tuttle and Sydney Paul. And in our third and final class, Lydia Borman and Kenna Hatton. And this will be for our champion and reserve champion black-faced commercial ewe lamb.
representation here in the 6 that we've got out here. Ewe lambs that are all functional in terms of their basic build. There's definitely some differences in terms of profile or skeletal quality from the side. There's some differences in terms of maturity and freshness and handling characteristics. But I think all 6 of them can go home and make really nice, kind of fault-free females for these individuals. And at the end of the day, that's a really, really big part of it. I think there's a pair of them out here that really sort themselves to the top, just offering just a notch more showroom quality and presence. And I think it's kind of close as you start to analyze the 2 of them. I think one of them's got a notch more maturity. One of them, I think, reads just a notch more genuine in terms of her width and dimension in her chest form, her freshness and squareness to the touch. I think there's a really a nice pair of them out here. I'm going to select your champion reserve. Let's congratulate these individuals on an awesome blackface ewe draft.
Alright, our champion is Amelia Borman, and reserve champion blackface commercial ewe lamb is Ryland Tuttle. Champion breeding ewe.
Well, the same story here as we bring out all of our division winners from our breeding female show. I think really solid females from top to bottom. There's certainly some differences in terms of their type of kind as it relates to their phenotype, as it relates to their breed or general genetic makeup. But I think big bodied, stout ones that are correct in their composition, they appear to be easy fleshing. They've got some muscle, they've got some look from the side. Those are the type of females that I gravitate towards when I'm looking to pick new lambs for my flock at home. I think all of them do that at a relatively high degree. With that said, though, I think there's a pair of them that just offer a notch more balance, a notch more eye appeal, and just overall structural quality. The 2 young ladies out of our blackface commercial ewe division are going to be champion and reserve. Let's congratulate them on a nice job today.
Borman and Ryland Tuttle. Congratulations to all our exhibitors. Now we'll move on to our white face, another color face division. This will be our market sheep. We've got 2 classes in this first division. In the first class, there's 3 exhibitors. We've got Lydia Borman, Grace Luchins, and Waylon Shipler.
interesting class here, only 3 individuals. Like we said, maybe in a class or 2 before, some things we like about each of them, maybe some things in this class especially that we really concerning or we really like to change just to make them a notch more complete and a notch more unique. I think the most fault-free, the most complete, the most balanced one is the young man, speckled influence lamb here, closest to me. I think he's a notch better in his general body shape than the weather in second. I think he reads with a notch more trimness and freshness than does the southbound weather in third. He's one that's just kind of a no-frills sheep. He's good balanced, he's good enough in terms of his look from the side. If we're going to be critical of this one, I'd like to change in the way that he handles his hock when we put him in motion. He has just a notch more set than I would term ideal, and he wants to get just a little bit out or insecure in the way he places that foot as he goes. Kind of the polar opposite is the one coming out next in second. This one, in terms of freshness and handle, wins the class hands down. This one, from a structural standpoint, is very, very concerning as he reads extremely straight and rigid off of both ends of his skeleton. You study this one in terms of the way that he flexes out of his hip and hock. He's extremely straight in that hock. I need to loosen him up in those joints so he can get out and go. He's one that reads just a little deeper in terms of his chest, which is usually the case. The straighter we make him, the kind of harder it is to build that forerib out and pick that, elevate that chest floor up in him. But I think one that handles really nice. I like that about him. He's correct in his composition. His structure for me, though, is just not good enough to win this particular drive. Rounding out the class here with the southbound in third. Really big body, really productive in his look. He is without a doubt the plainest in terms of his handle from blade to hip and reach with the most condition over his forerib and spine. I just need to freshen him up and give him more expression and move any higher today. I think a nice class, though. Let's congratulate these 3 individuals on a really nice white breed influence class.
Our first class winner is Waylon Schippler. Second is Lydia Borman, and third is Grace Luchins. Our next class of white face exhibitors is, we've got 3 exhibitors, Knox Nero, Weston Ehlers, and Tyler Frederick.
I think a close pair here at the top, and there's some give and take in terms of the things that we're looking at. I guess at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and lean towards one that just offers a notch more freshness and tone and touch when I get my hands on him. A really long body, level spine one. I love the way he handles in terms of his composition. If we're going to change this one, I'd like to just give him more body and center mass as you study him down through his midrib and flank. If we could drop him just a little bit there, that would help his balance so much from the side view as we prop him up or when we put him in motion. But he's long spine, he's fresh, he's good. His handle today. I think when we keep things ultimately simple, he needs to go ahead and win. From there, we've got one I do love just in terms of his basic build. Incredibly wide constructed, incredibly big center. He works a ton of volume of muscle from blade to hip. He might even read a notch scouter right at his tail head. But maybe just a little disappointing when you get your hands on him, as he's quite a bit softer to the touch. He's quite a bit plainer and just more mellow in terms of his overall handle. But I think a really good kind of a meat and potato sheep here to slide into that second spot. Rounded out the class with one that I think's got some body, he's got some productive look to him. In relation to the other two, though, he handles the sharpest down the top side of his skeleton. I need to balance him up from flank to flank just to make it more competitive with the two ahead of him. But I think a really high quality class. All three of these individuals are correct in terms of their fat and muscle characteristics, just some differences in terms of balance and design. Let's go and congratulate all these young people on a nice job.
Our class winner is Weston Ehlers, and second is Tyler Frederick. So now we'll bring back our top two from the two classes. So from the first class, we'll have Waylon Shipler and Lydia Borman, along with Weston Ehlers and Tyler Frederick. And this will be for our champion and reserve champion white face.
Nice white face cross division here. I think there's a pair of them that suit me just a notch more in terms of their totals. We talk about balance and eye appeal from the side, but then we also really need to emphasize handling characteristics, correctness of composition, freshness, and genuineness to the touch. I think there's a pair of them that just do that a notch better for me today in terms of being trim in their handles, still robust in the rib cage and back muscle. I'll go select your champion and reserve, but let's congratulate these young kids.
Our champion white face is exhibitor Weston Ehlers, and our reserve is Waylon Shipler. So now we'll bring in our black face market sheep. In class 1 is Hayden Bierstead and Kenneth Hatton.
I think an interesting pair here. You can flip a coin either way. I'm not going to argue with you. The young lady here out of the side view profile, and I'll like to win. One that's just a little easier in terms of his skeleton as he's built from the ground down. Is he perfect structured? By no means. Could he be better looking from the side? For sure. But I think he's quite a bit more cracked open as he's studying through the center body. He handles with quite a bit more mass and dimension from blade to hip, and he gives you a lot better pop and crease as he's studying out through his stifle and down through his crotch and the center and lower part of his leg. Obviously, the ewe-lamb in second, she's quite a bit leaner in terms of her hand today. It kind of works to her undoing almost, I think. She reads a little bit cleaner in her neck and blade. I like her body, her general, her lines that she presents. She's just not as massive as this one, and she really starts to concern you in the way that she handles that hind leg as she reads just a notch straight. She really doesn't want to get out and flex. The young lady has a little bit of a hard time ever getting her set back far enough, and I think that's because she is just a nickel more straight than we would term ideal. If she had just a smidge more mass to go along with what she presents for me today, then I think she's a logical winner. But a really fresh one, a really well presented one in terms of her presentation. Really nice class, a challenging class to evaluate. Let's congratulate these two young ladies.
Our first class winner is Kenneth Hatton. Second place is Hayden Bierstead. Our second class of our 5 classes of Black Face Market Sheep, there's 3 exhibitors: Adeline Heyer, Rylan Tuttle, and Grace Luchin.
Pretty logical place to start here. One of the coolest looking ones from the side, and then just a big old ditch, round body, big back one. one when you get your hands on it. Really a stout-legged one, just does a lot of really nice things really, really well. I'd say maybe his better days are down the road yet. He reads just a nickel immature in terms of his skeleton. We kind of put him in motion, he gets just a little discombobulated and uncoordinated, and that often happens on these ones that maybe are a little bit younger for their weight, just a little more immature in terms of their overall skeleton. But one that's freaky in terms of his muscle, good looking from the side, big-legged one, just a pretty logical one to find to go ahead and win. From there, another really big-backed, robust, ribbed one in second. I love this one's handling quality, particularly as we touch her from her blade to her last rib. She's maybe not as full and fresh over her loin edge. She's definitely not as stout and dimensional as we study her up to her tailhead, as is our class winner. Not quite as nifty and tall-fronted and good from the side, but a really fault-free one to slide into that second spot. Speckled appearing ewe-lamb in third, really correct in terms of her overall design and profile. She's adequate in terms of her composition. She just handles so much plainer from blade to hip. She needs to be more expressive. She needs to be crisper out at the edges of both her rack and loin muscles to compete for me today. And I think a nice trio of them. Let's give them a hand.
Our second class winner was Rylan Tuttle, followed by Adeline Heyer and Grace Luchin. So in our third class, we have 4 exhibitors. We have Amelia Borman, Lydia Borman, Kenneth Haddon, and Mason Leventhal.
maybe the deepest class we've had from top to bottom today. There's only 4 of them, so it kind of becomes a little bit of a challenge to pick apart your priorities. But I think the young lady here out on the side view handles the class just in terms of the basics. A really wide constructed one, one that's very fresh and hard handling, one that I think balances up good enough from the side in this particular drive. If we're going to be critical of this one, I'd like to lengthen him out and level him out in his hip. I'd like to make him just a notch shallower from chine to chest and lay that shoulder blade back into him just ever so slightly. But he's big-footed, he's wide constructed from a compositional market limb evaluation standpoint. He does those 2 things to the highest degree in a really nice balanced package. The one coming out next in second, maybe just a notch harder to the touch down the top side of his skeleton, but also just a little drier to the touch. One that I'd like to crack open right behind his blade. I'd like to make him just a notch better balanced from the side as we study him in relation to the class winner. But I think a really nice one to slide into second. The one that probably looks the most like our class winner is the one coming out in third. I like this one's basic build and design really well. He's round in his body, he's got some muscle from blade to hip. Of these 4, he is easily the most nondescript in terms of his shape, and he's carrying the most condition over his forearm and over his spine. Now, I'll talk a lot of condition, I'll talk a lot of freshness today. I'll be the first to admit I like him fresh. I maybe like him a little trimmer than some folk do. In today's day and age, I will take a fat one, but the way I look at it is that fat one has an advantage. That fat one should be smoother, stouter, more robust, more dimensional than anything in the class if he's the fattest one. So that's kind of the way I look at it. This dude, he's got enough muscle. He doesn't blow you away in terms of freshness and power. He doesn't blow you away in terms of width of skeleton from one that is carrying just a notch more cover. Logically, I think he slides into that third hole. The one coming out next in fourth, I will admit, she's a notch fresher. She's a notch trimmer over her fore rib. I like those things about her. Really square and shapely right behind her blade. Where she concerns me is how she handles over her loin edge, and how she transitions that loin edge into her hip. She kind of funnels to her tail head. She's not near as stout and just big bootied as some of them that we've looked at today. But I think a really nice class in our top 4 here. Let's congratulate these individuals. Really deep class from top to bottom.
Our class winner was Lydia Borman, second was Kenneth Hatton, third was Mason Lubenthal, and fourth was Amelia Borman. In our next class, we have 5 exhibitors. We have Rylan Tuttle, Zach Rickey, Lydia Borman, Reagan Studer, and Macy Bierstead.
preach a little bit, and then kind of the thing that you were talking about kind of comes true. I'll be the first to admit this one is a little smoother. For me, he's not the wildest one right here in terms of just crisp shape. He's maybe working a notch more cover, but he does that so well. He is so smooth in his lines. He is so cracked open as you study him in terms of his chest floor, the width of skeleton that he's got going away from you. One that's just very full frame and designed, very wide constructed, very smooth and fresh to the touch. If you're going to be critical of this one, I'd maybe like to change him right here at his tail head. He wants to funnel ever so slightly. We could widthen those pin bones out, make him a notch freakier in terms of his hip shape. But as we start to do that, then sometimes we start to mess with that hind leg structure. We don't have quite as sound a one as we have going away. Really nice one to go ahead and start. The one that does meet my hand with just a notch more tone and shape right behind his blade is the one coming out in second. Another really fresh one. I love this one in terms of his handle. He's not near as stout as you study him down through the center and lower part of his leg. He's not quite as balanced in terms of his body depth as you study him from the side view profile. And I like to stout him up in his bone work ever so slightly, but another really high quality market lamb there to slide into that second spot. The ewe-lamb coming out in third. In terms of her basic body and build, I love. She's wide constructed, she's round in her rib, she's got plenty of muscle working from blade to hip. She handles quite a bit plainer than some of them out here. This is not uncommon. As these ewe lambs start to mature and put on weight, they'll tend to just lose a little bit of their shape as they start to get groovier. And later into the season, they start to mature just a little bit and turn into females a little more in terms of a market lamb class. But a really high quality one there in third. One that is a little trimmer, one that is a little taller fronted than the one in third comes out next and fourth. I like those things about him. He's one that, in terms of his width of skeleton, shape and dimension as he's studying on the top side of his skeleton, it's just not there. He's easily the most closed up of those three. He needs to be bigger, bolder in terms of his muscularity. I'd like to just loosen him up in terms of his overall skeleton when we put him in motion. Rounding out the class with one that I think is correct enough in terms of his fat content when we handle him. He's just not quite as balanced, he's not quite as eye appealing, he's just not quite as sharp and firm to the touch as some of them up in the top end of the class. But another really nice class that's congratulated.
Our class winner was Ryland Tuttle. Second was Maisie Bierstead. Third was Zach Rickey. Fourth, Lydia Borman. And fifth was Reagan Studer. We have 3 exhibitors in our 5th and final class of blackface market sheep. Ryland Tuttle, Hayden Bierstead, and Mason Lubethal.
This one here is pretty unique, folks. The weight that we're starting to get at, we're kind of in that prime market lamb weight. what these weigh exactly, but I'm guessing we're up into at the very least, the high 130s, if not the high 140s. I haven't looked at your program, but this sheep is still so youthful through the front 1/3 of his skeleton, so fresh to the touch. And then with that said, he's still extremely stout in terms of his basic build and design. Just a good handling one, just a practical one that for one this practical is still extremely youthful, unique, and cocky through the front 1/3 of his skeleton. That's a pretty darn good one. Could win a lot of county fairs. The one coming out next in second, extremely wide constructed, extremely stout in terms of his muscularity. For his weight he's carrying, he's very correct in his condition. He's not quite as balanced, he's not quite as attractive in his overall profile and design, but he definitely has a stoutness advantage over the 1 1/3, and that's why he slides into second. The 1 1/3 is pretty striking from the side. He's big scale, he's tall fronted, he's long and smooth in terms of the places where he needs to be, but without a doubt in relation to this drive, he just gets overpowered both in the top side of his skeleton as he reads a little flatter in terms of his cage. He's not near as dimensional as you view him out to his tail head and down through the center and lower part of his leg. But he's one that's fairly fault-free and fresh to the touch, excellent presented. Let's congratulate these three on a really nice class.
Our class winner was Rylan Tuttle, second Mason Lubenthal, and third was Hayden Bierstead. Now we'll bring back the top two from our 5 classes for our overall champion and reserve base market lamb. So out of that first class, we will have Kenneth Hatton, Hayden Bierstead. Second class was Rylan Tuttle, third, and Adeline Heyer. The third class was Lydia Borman and Kenneth Hatton. Fourth class was Rylan Tuttle and Macy Bierstead. And out of the 5th class was Rylan Tuttle and Mason Lubenthal.
a little higher, but not tremendously higher. And we have sheep in first and second that I think can go and compete in a lot of county fairs throughout the United States. You guys should be proud of that. There's a few of them out here that I think are elite enough to go ahead and keep showing on at state fair, maybe Exarban on down the road, and they'll get noticed. They'll be right in the hunt, the thick of things, because they're sheep that are built well, they're sheep that handle really nice. They've got enough look from the side and they're balanced up enough. I think there's one out here, kind of like the ULAM deal. I hope you can tell there's one that hit me hard. Same thing holds true today. I think it becomes a lot closer for reserve. I'm going to go ahead and select your champion. I think there's one out here that's just awful nice. Puts a whole lot of things together. I'll spend a little more time going through them to pick our reserve. But let's congratulate all these young people and everybody back at the barn for all their hard work today. It's a little warmish out here. The fat guy's sweating if you can't tell. So these kids are working really hard, and it's a tremendous task to get these creatures shown, especially when it's a little uncomfortable. So really kudos to you on a really nice Market Land show. We'll go and select your champion.
Our champion black-faced market lamb was exhibited by Ryland Tuttle, and our reserve champion black-faced market lamb was also exhibited by Ryland Tuttle. Congratulations to all our exhibitors. Now we will go for our grand overall champion market lamb. So we'll be bringing back our grand reserves from our black-face market lamb class and our white face. So we'll have Ryland Tuttle with our champion of reserve black-face. And our champion white-face was Weston Taylors, and our reserve champion was Waylon Schindler.
We bring out our division champions and reserves, and I think both of these divisions and reserves really represent the class that they were showing in extremely well. Lambs that are fresh and handle well, lambs that look good from the side. I think there's a pair of them that just offer more quality. The two out of our black-face division will be champion and reserve. Let's congratulate this young lady on the heck of a day.
Congratulations to Ryland Tuttle on our grand overall champion market lamb and reserve grand champion market lamb.